Yeah, what's happening, Jay?
Hey, I'll be rocking to that intro music, man.
Yeah, you too, man. Like, like quick. So how about the crip walk?
Right. Welcome to Bears Banner Week 3, y'all. Bears on 2 right now. Week 3, Dallas Cowboys. So we'll see what happens. This is one of those games where both teams are not really that good. So we're gonna have to just see how this play out. And we welcome everybody that's watching on YouTube. Are we on Twitch
We on Twitch
and
today,
Facebook? So we're gonna get into it.
man. Jay, this been a rough week, man. You know, like you say, they put that 50 burger on you. I guess 52.
Yeah.
Man, it man, that's just those depressing weeks, man. And it's like the Chicken Little, the sky's falling. But in reality, man, I know as Bears fans, we've been suffering a long time and we want quick fixes, but that's really not how it works. I mean, every once in a while you have like I'm trying to think of the Giants coach, um, Brian
Brian
Dable,
Dayball.
who started out good his first year, but he's been on a hot seat ever since his first year because every year since that year has been mediocre.
And you think about Mike McDaniel. Last night we
Mhm.
watched them. You know how they was one of the highest scoring teams in the NFL a couple of years ago with two of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL. They was airing it out and everything, but they came back down to reality. So even the Chiefs, we was just talking off air how the Chiefs are 0-2. Who would have ever thought that a Patrick Mahomes team would be 0-2? But this is the NFL, and you have those windows where they close. You got free agency, you got drafts, and you got people that retire. So this, y'all. This is not a quick fix. This is not a
Yeah.
quick fix, and I just want everybody to understand that. And I understand that as Bears fans, we're starving for a winner because as a season ticket holder, I continue to go to Soldier Field and be depressed. But at the same time, we just got to know if you know football, this is not a quick fix.
Yeah. Hey Jay, you're right. You mentioned last night game. It was something happening last night game I thought was interesting. I want to see how the league ruled. Yeah, right at halftime, Josh Allen went to take a knee. And it's a weird play. He fumbled the snap. I don't know if you remember seeing it. He fumbled the snap as he was about to take a knee, even though it's not going to change the outcome of the game. And then he grabbed the ball and tossed it to the ref. So Miami has taken it to the league, saying that should have been a live ball. And I looked at it a few times. When I first thought it was nonsense. Like, man, he down the ball. But as I kept looking at it, I said, hold on, that might have been a fumble.
Hey, was his knee on the ground?
I didn't see it on the ground.
But that's one of those weird plays, man. But just like the teams, the refs are. It's week 2. They trying to get accustomed to things too. Just like the debacle we had last week in the Bears game at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Right before halftime, where they put the 6 seconds back on the clock. Half of the team had ran into the locker room. Ben Johnson was on his way. They like, nope, hold up, come back. It's a 10-second runoff, but we still got 6 seconds on the clock. And the referee that called that play, he bumbled the play because the guy fell in bounds and he stopped the clock.
Yeah.
So it's not a perfect science, man. And I know the NFL is a $1 billion entity, but at the same time, we got humans that scoring and calling the game, and things happen. Things happen.
Yeah. Yeah, Jay, that's a great point. And even pointing out that what happened on Sunday. I mean, that's just two part of hard luck with a team like the Bears where you just can't catch a break, man.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. And you look, when you watch the game, you're like, why is this happening to our team? It
Yeah,
seems like something always bad happens to our team. And I've said it over the years where, I can watch a game and everybody looks so much faster than us. Everybody looks so much crisper than us. And then we look at our team and we be like, why can't we look like that? But again, it's gonna take some time. Hey Reggie,
yeah.
what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Reg? He said the Lions made it personal on Ben Johnson.
Yes, he did. Yes, they did. And I like how Ben Johnson came out when they asked him that last touchdown they scored. He was like, "So, do you think the line? Do you think Campbell ran up the score on y'all?" He was like, "No." He was like, "The Lions don't punt. The Lions don't kick field goals. It was fourth and goal. That's what they do. It is what it is. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't want no team to score, you have to stop them."
Yeah. Yeah, this is not high school or pee wee. That's why back in the day when the Patriots was slaughtering people, I was like, "Hey man, it's up to your team to stop it." That the only way you could stop it, and to me, was what the Bears did. I interpret them taking Caleb Williams out as okay. Now, come, y'all could, we not about to try to do nothing else. So you could kind of take your starters out too.
Right, right. But Ben Johnson was like, that's what the Lions do. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not mad at it because again, it's been a long time since we've had a coach that's came out with the transparency that Ben Johnson has came out this past week. He was like, it might be some changes because I see people that ain't doing their job. And I was
Yeah.
specifically thinking he was talking about DJ Moore. Somebody last week was saying that they felt like DJ Moore was loafing because it's clearly becoming apparent that Roma Dunze is going to be the number one receiver on this team. And, I don't know how many targets DJ had last week, but week one, he had 5 targets. He made 4 catches. Ben got this whole block, no route. And I did see DJ Moore loafing a little bit last week.
Yeah, Jay, you know what? They're gonna have to put a little fire under him and start calling him Dennison. You know, that's his real name. He seemed to get irked when people call him Dennison. They're gonna
Yeah,
start calling him Dennison Jr. I think it's
yeah,
pronounced Dennison.
yeah. So,
Yeah, because I
so,
think
but
the DJ is for Dennison Jr. I believe.
yeah. So but the bottom line is, with all of that, I've heard a lot of noise this week talking about, Ryan Poles and his draft picks and all of that. To me, it's a valid point, but at the same time, you got players that's underperforming.
Hmm.
You have players that's underperforming, and we paid you money. You have to play, and I see a lot of players, especially from the offseason signings that we've just had. Our offensive line has graded out terribly, and we've spent a lot of money. We spent a lot of money on that offensive line, and they just performing very poor.
Yeah, Jay, I just want to go back to the DJ Moore comment, and I know DJ had a career year 2 years ago playing under
With
Justin
Justin Fields.
Fields.
Hmm.
And when I say career years, I'm going to be Pacific. He had more receiving yards ever in his career. Now,
$1,300.
what a lot of Bears fans don't realize, because last year they was kind of doing what they're doing now. Oh, DJ is unhappy; he's not being targeted, et cetera, et cetera. But actually, hold on, what we got here. Hey, what's happening now? But what they didn't realize, what DJ had his highest number of receptions last year. It just the yards per catch
Just a yard. Right, right,
were
right.
lower than they were the previous season. But last year he finished the season with 98 catches, I believe. And the season before he had 2 or 3 catches more last year than he had the year before. But
The
he
year
had
before.
it's important that as a receiver that you run your routes with speed, because if you don't, sometimes your route is designed to clear and get another guy open. And we could debate about some of the accuracy stuff here and there, But you cannot tell me that almost every pass he throws the wrong hit wrong in the hand, and you can't tell me that when he throws a DJ, somehow it doesn't hit him in the hand. I mean, something else is going on there, and I'm
Yeah,
think it's the way DJ is running his routes.
yeah, and just to go back when I said, talk about Ryan Poles, I just want to go down the ladder because we're talking about Ryan Poles and we're talking about Ben Johnson as well. I just feel like Ben Johnson hasn't really been a good play caller in some of this over the last couple of weeks because, again, I'm repeating what we talked about on the post game show. Caleb Williams is not a quarterback sneak guy. And you run two quarterback sneaks back to back on third and one and fourth and one, and you don't make it. DeAndre Swift was actually having a pretty good game. Roshan Johnson was active last week, who's supposed to be your short down back. So you putting Caleb in situations that he's not familiar with, and you shouldn't have to do that if you trust your offensive line and you're gaining yardage on the ground. Get that ball to the running back.
Yeah, I agree, Jay. I see one of the viewers. Thank y'all for y'all comments. Keep the comments coming. I agree. The Bears have solid players on this team, but right now, what I'm not seeing is star players. I'm seeing solid. The thing is, you gotta have some stars, and you gotta have what we always say. You gotta have a dog.
We ain't got no blue chippers. Is what
Yeah,
they call it.
yeah.
We ain't got no blue chip players. We
Blue
ain't got no
chip.
blue chip players.
Yeah.
And
And
if you
then
think
Reggie
about
was. I'm sorry.
if you think about all the players that's making money on this team, those are the ones that's underperforming. You
Yeah.
know, Jalen Johnson is out pretty much out for the year. He's making a lot of money. I don't know what Montez Sweat is. Um, and then you got Dahlman, you got Jonah Jackson. You paid these guys to come in here and make a difference, and nobody has made a difference as of yet.
Hey Jay, I was pulling up some numbers I ran this year, PFF, and I know Reggie just made a comment. Let me pull up Reggie comment about the O line. The O line should better than
Should be
this.
better than
It
this.
should be better than this. Jonah Jackson through 2 games, his overall PFF grade is 47.4. Now think about these grades are actually kind of set up the way when we were in school. Basically, not the way they got it now because everybody passed in school now, but but it was like what 70 was
Was passing.
yeah, 70 was a D and it was passing, right? And anything below 70,
It's an F.
the teacher
It's
is
an
F. The
F.
teacher better like you. They might get you.
F.
Yeah, it's an F. So this is how PFF grades are set up. And Jonah Jackson being the right, being in the interior, his pass blocking is 50.5. And no, I'm sorry, his run block is 50.5. His pass blocking is 48.4. Add that to the penalties that he had in the first game. That's not acceptable. Braxton Jones overall PFF grade through 2 games is 51. His run blocking is 53. His pass blocking is 50.8. That's not good.
That's failing.
Drew Dowman, his overall grade is 59.5. His run blocks is 60. So he's a little bit better run blocking than both of them. And his pass blocking is 64.6.
That's
Not
failing.
anything. So
That's
you got
failing.
your guys. Now, this is the disappointment to me so far, and this could be a product of being next to, it could be next to being Braxton
John
Jones.
Tooney.
It could just be a product of being next
John
to
Tooney.
Braxton Jones. Joe Tooney,
Yeah.
overall grade is 59.8. His run blocking is 54.3. His pass blocking is 65.5. I expect him to pick up from that, but that's not good. So the only body who got all 70s and is Darnell Wright, 74 overall, 65 pass blocking, and he has a 90 run blocking. That also tell me more of your run plays should be going behind Darnell Wright.
Mm-hmm. 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 But the two quarterback sneaks that they ran, one to the left, one to the right. 4th and 1, 3rd and 1. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. I'm sorry. There is no excuse for you not to be able to gain 1 yard. But
Right.
again, that was the product of the plays that Ben Johnson called because you know, Caleb is mobile and all of that, but he's not a quarterback sneak guy. And
No.
you know, it's sad. It's and I want to try to put that in perspective for the viewers when I say he's not a quarterback sneak guy. This is just not part of his game. You know, Caleb can get out the pocket and maneuver and duck and dodge, and he can do all this stuff. But just handing him the ball going straight forward, that's not his game.
No.
That's not his game.
No, and yeah, you got to know your personnel as a coach in calling plays. I think some of his play calling to me beyond that. This goes both ways. I know a lot of us saying, "Hey, the offense have not really been that good at the scripted plays." At the most part, that is true, but we blame it all on the quarterback. Some of that could be the play caller. Some of the play caller is not calling as of good of a game once he get out of his scripted plays too. That's what I'm saying because this is the first game, and you only did it one time where you actually rolled your quarter left. It's only a few guys like Caleb, Josh Allen, Mahomes. It's only maybe 2 or 3 up, maybe Baker that actually could roll to their left
And throw
and
the
could
ball.
still throw the ball while they're moving pretty fast. A lot of quarterbacks in the league cannot do that with any kind of accuracy. Not to their left. They could roll right and do it, but not left. And they got that one touchdown with Rome. But you should be setting up more stuff like that. If we look at the first game of the preseason that the starters played in, the very first play was a rollout to Coast and Love, hit them in the move on the move. Where has that play went?
Right. Right, and I just go back to what you just said about the script at first 15. I have always been in the mindset as long as I've been playing, as long as I played, as long as I watched, and they say, well, the first 15 plays that are scripted. Okay, I think I've said this on shows a lot of times. Okay, if you run those first 15 plays and they work, why not run them back?
Yeah.
Why not run them back? So if you ran 1 through 15, run them back 15 through 1, or run them back 5, 10, 1. If those are the plays that you're saying that's working, but I know that's a cliche. We're talking about, oh, he's good for the first scripted plays. That's a cliche. But at the same time, if those plays are working, you run plays until the defense stop them. And Ben Johnson has just adjusted from being an OC. Yeah. And like I said, it's a difference being a play caller and going to Dan Campbell, or Dan Campbell coming to you as the play caller, like, okay, it's 4th and 1. We
Mm-hmm.
going for it. Versus you being the head coach and as the OC, you like, okay, Dan Campbell say we going for it. So now I got to find the play. But it's a difference. When you're the head coach and you like we going for it, but you still have to call the play.
Right.
you know, it might sound crazy to people, but it's the truth. When you a head coach and the play caller, that's a lot of responsibility because you got so many choices that you have to make. You have to make the choice that we're going for it. Now you have to make the choice of what the play is going to be.
Yeah, Jay, that's a great point. And Reggie, man, great point. Appreciate your feedback. It is an adjustment, and you know what? I hate to go back and use examples of previous coaches and stuff like that because it make it seem like kind of stuck in the past. But I think it's a great example. There was points with the Chicago Bears under Lovie Smith where defense was looking bad, and he wasn't calling. He was the head coach, and he took his headphones off and went over there and talked to the defense, right? And I remember Erlach and talking about at times, and him Earl Briggs saying how we saw Lovey as the guy. It seemed like he didn't get mad at him, but he over there like, big fella. I mean, like, you need to make a tackle. I mean, like, what are you doing, right? I mean, you're supposed to be the guy. Like, what are you doing, right? So we think he ain't saying nothing, but he's making. They like, man, I used to be embarrassed, man, when Lovey would come and say that to me. I'm like, man, am I that bad? Do I suck?
And to your point, he's the head coach. But
Right.
he's took his headset off and he done walked onto the defense while the offense is on the field. So now he got his back turned to the action, talking to the defense, and it's everything going on. So it's a lot. It's a lot, and only a few can do that, man. You know, you got your Andy Reeds, and you got your a couple of other guys. You know, just like all the success that what's the Patriots head former head coach, his name
Belichick.
Belichick. Belichick, he was just a head coach. He wasn't. Although he was a defensive guy, he still had a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
You know, and although we do have Declan Doyle, who's young and an upcoming offensive coordinator, everybody know this is Ben Johnson's offense, and he's the head coach and he's the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, yeah. So you have to sometimes be able to make those adjustments, right? Because it seems like right now, and I know he's still learning the job, it's like he's probably like when the defense is on the field, he's looking for like what are we gonna do for this next offensive series and how we get the going. And that's why so many head coaches sometimes realize that they can't do both. And they maybe do it both later, but they turn over their play caller so they can kind of manage the whole game a whole lot better. And sometimes you even got to go talk to your defensive coach. What are you doing? Are you making any adjustments? Because if not, next thing you look around, you like, hey man, I mean, you letting the game get out of control. Why you not pressuring them? You just gonna let them just do this all day? I mean, the other coaches need to know that you're coaching them as well.
Yeah, yeah. But we got this game coming up against the Dallas Cowboys where they got a banged up secondary. We got a banged up secondary. Russell Wilson threw for 450 last week. And you know, I can't say this. I can say this will be a chance for Caleb to get his feet wet, to continue progressing. They gave up 450 yards to Russell Wilson. And now, don't get me wrong, Bears Nation, Russell Wilson is a Pro Bowl, Super Bowl caliber playing quarterback in his day, but he's a little older now. But they gave up 450 yards to Russell Wilson and the Giants. The Giants, you
Yeah,
know, who Malik Neighbors is really pretty much they only wide receiver.
yeah,
So with the weapons that we have, I feel like we should be able to kind of move the ball down the field.
yeah,
So we'll see what happens. But we got a lot of injuries, and it's so sad. Just week 3, and we talking about injuries, but we got a lot of injuries, especially in our defensive secondary, which was supposed to be our strong suit.
yeah. So Jay, as far as the Dallas Cowboys, they have allowed on an average 283 passing yards allowed per game. You know, that's what they average out to. Um, their opponents are averaging 30.5 points a game. So this is a game that you could try to get right, but it does remind me of a couple of years ago, the Bears, this before Washington got Jaden Daniels. Washington had came in and they were like
Hmm.
kind of look similar where they was giving up a lot of
Hmm.
points. And we jumped out on them right away. We was up to about 28 and we hit them about 2 scores. Ironically, we end up losing this game 31-28.
31-28. I
So
remember. I
and
remember.
yeah, so it's how you close a game as well, how it plays out. But some of the things the Bears need to work on is their running game. One, they need to work on consistently running the ball. We all say a running game and a tight end is a young quarterback best friend.
Best friend. Yep.
I don't know why we're not treating it like that. We're literally throwing the ball. I would say between 37. I should say throwing the ball. We're dropping back to throw the ball between 37 to 42 times a game. And how you get that number is if this is not a quarterback design run, you have to add the sacks into that too. Even though
Right.
it's not an attempt, it was
Right.
a drop back. So if
Right.
you sack 4 times and you have 35 attempts, you drop back 39 times. If you scramble 4 or 5 more times, right, and when the design runs, so you actually have 45, 44 to 45 dropbacks. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. And it to me, this team says one thing, but they built it another way. You built this team like you're gonna be passing all the time. That's why you got all what you saying weapons, but you really don't have any weapons in the run game.
Right. And again, like I said, ever since Poles came, he's built this team from the outside in. And you need to build your team from the inside out. And that's on offense and defense. But it's, I just think there the consistency with the run game will never flourish if you don't stay with it. And with you being outcoached, which especially in the second half of that Vikings game, where you're anticipating that the defense is going to blitz you. So now you're not creating plays for your tight ends, which is again part of your strong suit, especially for a young quarterback. Coastal Loveland got, I think, 3 targets in 2 games, and one of those came from Tyson Bagent last week.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're not targeting your tight ends, who could actually help you, which we saw in the preseason, although it was preseason, but you saw how they were able to get out and get into space, make some plays, and if you can't do that, then your offense is going to continue to struggle. Give him another guy more touches, see what he can do. Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree
I
with
agree
that
with
too.
that. But at the same time, I can still say that Swift didn't run bad last week. He actually surprised me last week. Actually, he put his shoulder down a couple of times, but at the same time, has Roshan Johnson been just regulated to special teams? Because he was active last week and he didn't get not one carry.
Mm-hmm.
And he's supposed to be your short yardage back. So on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, what was Roshan Johnson?
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Mike? Mike Ross. Man, you know what? I hate to say it, man. I think a lot of fans are believing that saying, "Hey, they betting that they're losing until they win."
Man,
But
come
going
on,
back
man. Don't
to
disappoint me like that, man.
hey,
Don't do
going
me
back
like that,
to
man.
Magang, what's that?
Mananga? Mananga?
Magangai. I do believe you have to know how many touches both of them should get. You need to be up to about 25 to 30 carries by your running backs. Swift is not, most backs in the NFL are not built to carry 25 to 30 times. So
Right.
somewhere in there, Swift is probably good between 15 to 18, and the
Mm-hmm.
next 7 to 8 should be going to Magangai. And
Mm-hmm.
you got to use it. Now, Swift, I think Swift is a guy that's fast and he can make plays. My problem with Swift, I think I continue to say it sound like a bad record, a broken record at times, is he doesn't read his blocks well. And a good example of it was there was a play in the game, and I saw people arguing about it on social media. I wish I had it on the screen. Well, anyway, the people were arguing about it. It was a play that was designed to go to the right, in a hole flash in the middle of right in the middle, and Rome runs in to fill that hole, and the hole closes as he's running through the hole, and everybody's saying he ran too slow. Actually, no, when you break that play down, you have to read your blocks. That play was designed to go through the C gap. It was not designed to go through the A gap. Ironically, the A gap just opened for a middle. But if you look at the blockers, the reason it closed so fast is because all the blockers had turned to defenders and was
Mm-hmm.
pushing towards that hole. And the left side of the line had moved their men out of the way, and that's why the whole flash. If he had actually read his blockers, and the way you could tell on this play, the receiver on the outside was blocking this guy to the outside, which showed that's where the play was designed. So they end up not getting no yards on that play. That's just a play. Well, I've said this before. You have to be patient behind where a play is designed, even if you have to slow up a minute because the hole may pop. But if you start bouncing back too quick, sometimes you're getting less than you should have got on that play.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think they need to stick with the running game because in order for Ben Johnson's play action offense to work, you gotta make the defense think that you're gonna run the football. And if you're not gonna run the football, then the play action is just not working. I like the Bears because I'm from Chicago, but I've been a Cowboys fan all my days, and I will say this: we are bringing a running game and Jadeveon Clowney to town with us. Okay, Willie Vassar.
Hey,
Okay, I hear you.
thanks for your comment.
Thanks for your comment. We appreciate it. So, Bernard, what you think the Bears got to do to win this week?
They don't tell everybody's watching. The Bears first need to establish that they're gonna run. When your defense is struggling, one of the best friends to a defense is ball possession on offense. You don't want quick scores. You want slow scores. You want to be able to limit the possessions of the other team if your defense is struggling, especially if you got injuries in your secondary. So
Right.
if you could use 7 to 8 minutes on the drive, get a touchdown, half the first quarter is over. You just hope they don't score extremely fast on your defense. So that's first thing I do: run, clock manage. Second is get Caleb some easy passes. Get the mismatch that's out there. Design plays to get to your tight end. Don't worry about the guys that's pouting. It's not about the guys that are pouting. Guess what? If I threw 11 targets to Roma Dunze last game, all 11 hit him in the hands. You know what that meant? He was open all 11 times. Nobody other guys didn't get it because they probably
Because
went
they
open.
wasn't open. They wasn't open.
It went open. You can't force plays into players who are not open. You could design some stuff to get them open, but that's up to them. They got to win their battles.
Well, I think this game this week is going to be decided on special teams. The Bears special teams has not really been well, especially in the punt return game. And Dallas is bringing a formidable punt returner to Chicago and Turpin this week. So I think our special teams really need to be up to snuff. Uh, and defensively, we have to get to the quarterback, and I know a lot of people. It's not a lot of chatter, but it is chatter that we no pressure on the quarterback. I mean, these guys sitting back here making a sandwich, with extra mayo. You know what I'm saying? They back there like, oh, ain't nobody coming. Let me dip in this thing and put a little extra mayo on my sandwich.
Give
You
me a
gotta
refill.
get
Do y'all got free
right,
refills?
right, 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 right. So special teams, our special teams and our pressure on the quarterback is going to be keys to this game. Offensively, I just think, like you said, we need to establish a running game. And our tight ends have to be included in the passing game. Um, like I say, Russell Wilson threw for 450 yards on this team. And we talking about the Giants with just Malik Neighbors. And I know they got a couple of other guys that's not household names. But when you got a DJ Moore and a Roma Dunze and a Cole Komet Loveland, you got Luther Burton. You got some weapons. The Giants wish they had the weapons that we had. So it's really going to be up to the offensive line to establish a run and allow an established run to open up a play action passing game.
Yeah, I agree with one of the comments that we seeing out there. Thank everybody's watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch TV. The Bears, I agree, they're gonna have to get pressure. If you don't get pressure, there's nobody on this team that can keep up with CD Lamb. Not that there's many people keep up with him, period. But
George Pickens too. George
George
Pickens too.
Pickens. So the Bears gonna have to. Dennis Allen, you got to stop being. You got to coach the guys you got. You can't coach stubborn.
Right. Right.
Always able to
Right.
get to the quarterback this
Right.
way. You don't have that personnel right now. And to
You don't
somebody
have the man-to-man personnel. You
correct,
don't have the
you don't
man-to-man
have it.
personnel right now, especially when your defensive line not bringing pressure.
You're
If
right.
your defensive line was bringing pressure, then you could afford to play man to man. But right now, you can't afford to play man to man. No Kyler Gordon, no Jalen Johnson. Tyrese Stevenson got exposed last week. I don't know I don't know what the mo on him is, but he got exposed last week. Nashawn Wright, he's a good player, but he ain't no blue chipper. Jaquan Brisker has been missing. Kevin Byard is a step slower, which I saw that in week one.
Yeah,
I'm like, ooh, Byard kind of slow right now.
yeah,
But he's in, I think, his ninth or 10th season. So, and without the pressure, the secondary gets exposed.
yeah. Jay, this is gonna be a critical part of this game is special teams. You know, they have a kick. I don't know his name. This guy that kicked over what 63, 64-yard field goal. I think in warm-ups, I think in preseason hit one at 70. So you have a field goal kicker that's shaky. The Bears have to be better on special teams because
Definitely.
yeah, because what's going to separate, let's say both teams are having success offensively. Both teams are playing poor defense. The problem that's hurting the Bears when they even get some rhythm is penalties, right, on offense. Second is they're having bad plays on kickoff returns. Not just kickoff returns, but special teams. You start the game last week with a ball kicked out of bounds, gave the team a short field right from the beginning of the game. You didn't had a block punt this year. You didn't had a block field goal. You're giving up too many yards on
17 yards per punt return.
that.
That's inexcusable, man. That is
Yeah,
just totally inexcusable. And, Hightower was the only holdover from the last regime
yeah,
because they felt like he was pretty good at his job. But over the first couple of weeks has not shown that.
yeah. So that's going to be tough with the Bears, but man, Jay, it's early, man, and I know people are panicking, and the Bears are in a weird space as well, because one, the fan base, they just frustrated, right? Because right
Right.
now we became the new Cleveland Browns, or what's
Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Panthers. We the old Detroit Lions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We the team that kind of been the bottom for the last few years. We had two 10-game losing streaks in the last 3 years. That's not good. And so we came in with high hopes and really like unfair expectations, right?
Totally unfair expectations because as I told y'all all off season, as much as the Bears were trying to build, hype this season up, I'm like, okay, we got a first year head coach and look at the schedule. And
Mhm.
the thing about it is, get your paper grocery bags ready.
The ain't.
Right, right. And as when the schedule came out, I'm like, okay, people talking, but I'm like, this schedule ain't for the faint at heart because we play Dallas. We play Dallas Sunday. Then we go to the Raiders. We already 0-2. So can you imagine what this fan base would go like? Would be like if we lose Sunday. Now we 0-3 going to Las Vegas, who's not a very good football team, but they got a savvy head coach and
Yeah.
Pete Carroll. We can go 0-4 and then the bye week. So now we 0-4 going into the bye week. Then we got to go on the road to Washington. This could set up to be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it sure can. Now, you know what I do see positive, and I know a lot of fans, once we get our emotions and unfair expectation, I actually we're seeing the growth in Caleb that we should see. Man, I'm telling you what people don't see. CJ Stroud 2 years ago, kind of,
Set the bar high.
he
Set
set
the
the
bar
bar
high.
high. But if you look at CJ last year, Caleb actually outperformed him almost in every category other than being sacked, right? But CJ was like right behind him in most of the rankings. But if you look at him this year, he still looked. I think one game he had 52% completion ratio. The matter of fact, the last game they just played, that's pretty low. But you know what? His line is bad as
He,
well.
he, he got a bad offensive line.
And he's not accurate, and he's kind of. I think he's maybe been sacked more than anybody so far. But accuracy is affected when you pressure a lot, right? Because you can't really plant your feet. You look at Jaden Daniels; he set the bar high last year, but he kind of struggling this year, and now he's going to miss the game
He's
Sunday.
gonna miss the game this week. Yep.
Look at Bo Nix. Bo Nix just had a game where he completed 51% of his passes. He struggled. Bo Nix had a good year. So sometimes what happens with some of these quarterbacks, they started out fast, but then they're hitting that sophomore wall. But I would rather my quarterback start off slow and he builds his way to it, because sometimes if they start off fast, then if they start doing bad, you have this false hope that by the time you get to year 3 of thinking this may be the guy, but they just might have just a lucky first year, So I
Well, and I tell
to it.
and I tell people all the time, rookie quarterbacks are funny because you can go back and watch their college tape and be like, okay, these are his tendencies, these are his tendencies. In his rookie year, as CJ Stroud did, he had a great year. But what happens is now the league has film on him, and now they know what his tendencies is. And a lot of times I tell people as well is that when you are a team that's drafted high in the draft, your team is bad outside of the Bears being able to finagle Carolina and get what they got, you know. But when you have a quarterback that's successful in his first season as a CJ Stroud, and they won the division, they won a division, and then they advanced in the playoffs. But then your schedule the next year, instead of playing a fourth place schedule, now you're playing a first place schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Those things matter.
Mm-hmm.
Those things matter. And people don't understand that, okay, like Jaden Daniels last year. They played the last place schedule last year.
Yeah.
They played the last or third place. I'm sorry, third place
Third
schedule.
place
They played
schedule.
a
Yeah.
third place schedule last year. So now you playing the likes of the Bears, who came in last place or third place in a division, and you playing the Carolinas and the New Orleans Saints. But when you wind up winning that division and getting that first place schedule, so now you playing every first place team, and it just makes it a lot difficult. And when they got that year of film on you, they studying the entire offseason, like, okay, these are his tendencies. What is he doing good in the running game? Is he pulling it back? Is he gonna hand it off? It's just a lot of intricacies, man. And people just, and I understand, like I said, people just starving for a winner and think that it's gonna be a quick fix. And it's not. Because after the bye week, the Bears schedule is brutal.
Brutal. Yeah.
It's brutal. You go back to back, and I know we going ahead, but you go back to back Baltimore and then Cincinnati. The Cincinnati game kind of don't look as bad as it could have been with because Joe Burrow is hurt now. But man, that schedule, the AFC North is the NFC North.
Mm.
You're
Okay.
not playing that. You're not playing the AFC South. You're not playing Jacksonville and Tennessee and those guys. You playing Cleveland, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and then you playing the teams in your own division.
No,
So
bless you, Jay.
it's thank you. So this schedule is brutal, and the only thing you can hang your hat on is like, well, the Packers, the Vikings, and Detroit got to play the AFC North as well. So we talking about the AFC North versus the NFC North versus the NFC North versus the NFC North. So those are games right there within your division and the division that you playing. And then you have to play the NFC East, where you're talking about the Cowboys, who's not a threat, but the Cowboys are always a pretty decent team.
Yeah.
The championship Eagles, the up and coming Washington Commanders, and a team in the New York Giants that I still say, I told people, the Giants lost 10 games last year by one score, and they didn't have a quarterback.
Mm.
Those are the things that you have to look at. And people don't look at stuff. They like, well, we got them, we got Caleb Williams, we got Ben Johnson, so we should win 9 games. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Winning is not easy in the NFL. It
NFL.
doesn't. It doesn't matter who your opponent is. Hey, let me play this right quick, Jay.
Let's hit the E-way and flood the beaches, just let me float. Get some baddies in this LA traffic, yeah, just let me know. Get some stallions that wear medallions, just drop it low. Can't imagine all that shit that happens when I lose control, no hesitation. Wonder, yeah, the crowd been going wild, swear this music takes me back to 2010. Wonder, you've been silent all summer, made me wonder if it's something that I did. Wonder, threw a party with a Barbie, but she tried to treat me like I'm just a kid. Wonder, don't nobody know your body like somebody that's been a good ass afternoon.
Hey, Luke Sky. Hey, I just wanted to run a little quick commercial for my son, Luke Sky, who I know he watched this show all the time. Proud of him. He write his own music. He write rap. He write songs. So hey, go stream Luke Sky. He's on Apple Music and get him in your music collection. You know,
Go
you'll
get
be
it,
like
y'all.
first on that list. You know, got his
Go
music
get it,
before he
y'all.
became a star.
Right, go get it.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, you want to go to 2 for 2 or the game of the week first before we get to the predictions?
Let's do the game of the week.
Game of the week. Okay, let me bring up the
Yeah,
schedule.
yeah, let's do the game of the week.
Okay, what we got so we could get them in front of us. Okay, man. We had one game last night, so
Yeah,
I got the games on the screen. Jay, man, I'm looking through this here. Oh, man, we got some pretty good
uh,
games this week. Man,
it's kind of hard for me to pick a
it's
game
kind
of the
it's
week
kind of
this week.
hard to say which one of these gonna be the game of the week. I'm going to go with the game of the week is going to be the Eagles and the Rams. I think
Okay,
that's going to be a nice matchup. Um, I'll get to the Eagles later on when we get to the next part, but I think this is going to be a nice matchup, the Eagles and the Rams.
okay. Well, and I'm gonna go Packers Browns.
Packers Browns. Okay.
Yeah, because the Packers are going on the road. They 2-0, and the Browns are 2-0. And it's gonna be interesting to see how Jordan Love plays against a defense that has a pass rush. So
Mm,
I'm gonna go Packers Browns.
okay, you're going to point. Okay. Okay. So let's see what happened. Hold on. Maybe one of the viewers got that game of the week. Okay. Reggie has Lions Ravens.
Lions Raven.
That should
That's a
be
good one.
that should
That's
be
a
a good
good
one.
one.
It's a good. You should be able to
That's a
get a
good one.
measure of where the Lions are really at, and the Ravens is an interesting team because the Ravens put a lot of money on defense the last 2 seasons,
But they
but right
secondary bad.
now,
They
yeah, but right
secondary is bad.
now their defense is about as worse as ours. Their
Yeah, they second.
defense is in like we're probably like the fourth worst defense in the league. I think we ranked 28. The Ravens right in there somewhere between 26 and 29. So I know as much as we say we miss certain players, their defense sucked like ours.
Yeah, that's a Monday night game, and they secondary is bad. But
Hmm.
again, as I watch all these games, the teams that we've lost to this year, which are the Vikings and the Lions, I'm always following them to see what they do after they play us.
Mm,
You know, you saw what the Vikings did last week against the Falcons. They struggled big time. So it's going to be interesting to see how Jared Goff does against this Ravens defense that has a pass rush, but no secondary.
yeah,
So it's going to be really interesting to see how that play out. But that's a good
yeah,
call, Reggie. That's a good
yeah.
call.
No problem.
Lions Ravens
Two
Monday
for
night is going to be a
two.
good one.
2 for 2.
Oh, 2 for 2.
Two
Guys
for
here. We
two.
didn't even know guy was here.
2 for 2.
Oh, come on in, guy.
Now I'm talking about the voices, the 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Hey, with 2 for 2 for those who are new to the show, that's for the week is your two best team and the two worst team in the league. Is it still saying? Hold on, it seems like it's caught in the rotation.
2 for 2.
There we go. Let me take that off.
Yeah.
What you want to start off, Jay? Who's your two bottom feeders?
My two bottom feeders right
Yeah,
now,
two worst teams.
as much as I hate to do it, I got to put my beloved down there.
Okay.
I got to put my beloved down there. They gave up a 50 burger last week, man. They gave up a 50 burger last week in week 2 of the season. Are you kidding me? So the Bears, and I would probably say the Bears and who? The Saints. I,
Bears
I
and the
will put at
Saints.
the bottom. Yeah, I will
Okay.
put at the bottom the Bears and the Saints.
Okay.
And my uh two highest teams right now, I almost put Kansas City down there with the two bad because they are two and we ain't seen that in a long time. But I can't
Mhm.
put them down there because that they're not two of the worst teams in the NFL. My top two, I'm gonna go with the Eagles because they're the Super Bowl champs and they 2-0. and I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills,
Okay.
who looked pretty impressive last night. And Josh Allen is one of them guys, which this is how I'm hoping that Caleb is going to be, because they really ain't got no star wide receivers, but Josh Allen makes everybody on his team better. He makes
Yeah.
everybody on their team better. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles and the Bills as my top two.
Yeah, hey Jay, I'm gonna start off with my two words team, man. Our beloved almost made it. I tried to hold off another week, but I'm gonna go with Cleveland and
Okay,
Miami.
Miami, yeah,
Yeah, I'm
because
gonna
they
go
0 and
Cleveland.
3. They
Yeah,
already 0 and 3.
my top two, Jay, I agree with you, is Buffalo and the Eagles. And you know what, Jay? I know in the offseason, I was one of those people who was leaning towards Joe Brady. And I know the most popular person was Ben Johnson, but one of the reasons I was leaning towards Joe Brady is because when I looked at Caleb, I thought Caleb had some of the same attributes as Josh
That
Allen.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, and I know as much as we may say that whatever the negatives are for Caleb, if you look at Josh Allen play, Josh Allen the baller. Don't get me wrong on that. He sucked his first 2 years. Some people have bad memories or they didn't watch the game. He sucked. He probably was like 56% of his passes the first year, 58. He had about as many interceptions as touchdowns, and then when you added in the fumbles that he lost, man, he probably was turning the ball over every touchdown. He had some kind of either turnover for either from an interception or a fumble. But with that said, Josh Allen actually is a playmaker.
He's a baller.
He's
He's a
throwing
baller.
most of the time. Most of the time, he
He's a
takes the
baller.
wide throw. He has a kind of long throw, bullet arm. So they change his throwing motion. They move him a lot. He
Hmm.
make a lot of plays. So you plan to the strength of him. He runs a lot.
He's
He
a big guy too.
hero
He's a big
ball.
guy.
He plays hero ball. It kind of caught up with him in the playoff last year when it was, he called his number, quarterback sneak, got the quarterback sneak. With that said, that's why I had kind of like thought. But anyway, the point is, you got to do some of the stuff like they do for a quarterback like him, where you
Hmm.
actually are using all those strengths in Caleb, throwing on the run, moving the pocket. And you're not moving the pocket to cut down his read. You're moving the pocket because he throws well on the move. And you are actually making the defense think. And if you're doing misdirection stuff, you're making the defense not be able to just rush to that spot. Basically, what they have done to Caleb right now is make him a robot. He's basically back there. You can see he's kind of overthinking it, and
Hmm.
and he seems like it's a guy when a person when they first learning the line dance, and when you kind of first learn that line dance, you're counting it and you're looking at the
Right.
feet
Right.
and you making sure you're on
Right.
rhythm with them. That's how he looks as a quarterback right now. He looks like he's learning the new line dance and he's trying to count and be on rhythm and do everything correct.
Yeah. So those are the attributes that you hope that they can coach out of Caleb, and he could actually flourish in the pocket. Eagles, LA Chargers.
That's his
Yeah.
top
Well,
two.
those is top two. Okay.
His top two.
Okay. Chargers and Bills. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I like that. I like that. But those are the attributes that you hope that he's in year two, which is really year one, because again, like I tell people, he came from USC. Then, you had two head coaches last year. You had two offensive coordinators last year. Now you learn a new system. Those are just the attributes that you hope that you can coach out of him, where he's trying to play the hero ball, like the interception he threw last week. Initially I thought he was trying to throw that ball out of bounds, but he was trying to hit
I'm trying
Oz.
to get y'all to hit
He,
again.
he, he was he was really trying to hit Oz. Like, I'm gonna make this play. So you just hope those are the things that they can coach out of him, and he can play better from the pocket and play better on time. So we'll see how that happens. But like I said, this game is weak. You got the Dallas Cowboys coming in, who don't play really well here in Chicago historically. Don't really play well here in Chicago. So national game of the week. So we're gonna be on for the national audience to see again. So I just hope that the Bears can actually put on a better display as to what they put on last week and on Monday Night Football a couple of weeks ago. So with that said, I'm going to predict a Bears win this week. I didn't pick them last week because I felt like they were going to lose just because they were in Detroit. Detroit's home opener. I just think that I just didn't think that they was going to win last week. So I was right. I didn't think they was going to get a 50 burger put on them, but I didn't think they was going to win the game last week. But I'm actually going to predict them to win this week just because I think Ben Johnson is going to find a way to outcoach Eberflus's defense, which is so ironic that Eberflus is coming back as defensive coordinator for. We'll put up 40 points on the board. Oh no, he ain't gonna put up 40. He ain't gonna put up 40. He won't put up 40 this week. They did that last week because they was at home. He won't do that this week. So with that said, my prediction, I'm gonna pick the Bears to win this game 28-24.
Okay, man, you got him, Jay. Man, me and you the only one on this panel. The other guys couldn't make it tonight. So for those who are new in the show, three of the other hosts are not available. Quick, actually, referee high school game. So Friday was a bad night for him, and Plank couldn't make it, and Guy couldn't make it. But if you look at the rating, I'm 1-1, Jay 1-1, and the rest of the guys, they got that goose egg. But anyway, Jay, with that said, I'm gonna stick with my predictions that I had before the season and this is one of the wins that I had the Bears winning on, even though I'm kind of nervous about that. I see this as the Bears pull this off 31-28. Let's see. We'll see what happens.
It's gonna be a lot of points scored in this game. I just think the Bears are just gonna wind up on top. But it's gonna be a lot of points. This ain't gonna be, last week I predicted a low scoring game because I still didn't know what Detroit's offense was. But there's gonna be some points put up in this game. It's gonna be some points. That ball gonna be flying all over the place in Soldier Field, and I'm gonna be there for it. Right. You know me, I love to see points put on the board. But I just think the Bears are gonna wind up coming out on top in this one.
Hey, Dave, that's a good point. The Bears do have a lot of injuries on their defense,
as well as the Cowboys, though. As well as the Cowboys
as well. And let's see, Dan says, to be honest, this is Ben's first year here. He's seeing who he's got to keep for next year. Honest, hope we're
bad enough to get a high pick. We tired of drafting at the top though, because guess what? As much as we draft at the top, we still ain't seeing no production.
Mm-hmm.
We still ain't seeing no production. Detroit started out 3 games in Campbell's first season and went in the playoffs the following season. Smart coaching on the rebuild. Yeah, well, I haven't picked the Bears to go to the playoffs this year, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's a great point about Dan Campbell's first year. I don't have the stats in front of me, so if I'm incorrect, somebody please correct me. I want to say he started out 0-10, and then the 11 game was a tie. So they ended up being, at one point, they were 0, 10 losses in a tie, right?
In a tie, yeah.
Then they finally won game number 12 before they got their first victory. So there's a lot in that to see where you got to be able to stick with the process. And as much as, fans like us, we kind of get upset because we want to see a winner, man. We giving our Sundays up all the time, man. And man, I hope we don't have to be in that top pick again. I understand what you're saying. If you're gonna be bad, then just at some point, if you're gonna be bad, it's gonna be bad. But I'd rather see us don't have to do that again and see some of these.
I just want to see progress. See progress. As a Bears fan, like I said, it's in Chicago. Period. In Chicago. Period. We starving for any team that's winning. Right now, the Cubs is probably the best thing that we got, and we happy that they got a wild card. That's how much we starving for a team to be in the playoffs. They was pouring champagne the other night because the Cubs clinched a wild card. And I was like, what they do this at? A wild card? They in the locker room with goggles on pouring champagne? It's a wild card. That means you barely made the playoffs. Yeah. So, we starving for a winner, man, but it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. And
Yeah, it's gonna take time.
unfortunately, I hate. I know fans hate to hear that. I hate to hear it as a season ticket holder, but it's gonna take time.
Yeah, man. Hey, Dan, man, we do need a left tackle. I mean, I know I don't want to go back over this. I know we almost got to close out. We
Yeah,
definitely
we
need
beating the dead
a left
horse.
tackle.
We
I
beating the
know
dead horse.
as much as we say Komet is not targeted because he's too busy trying to help Braxton Jones block. That's one of the reasons you're losing a personnel in your receiving game because your left tackle cannot block on his own, and the tight end has to constantly come in, and you're running 12 personnel at times just because so he can help block. He's not winning one-on-one battles with anybody this season. And you know what I think has happened is he's regressing because he really probably, I'm just guessing, he had a serious injury last year. And that injury was one of those injuries where you probably wouldn't have came back until maybe 2 or 3 games into the season. He probably rushed back because he didn't want to lose his job. And this is a contract year for him, if I remember right.
Yep.
So he has to try to show some stuff, but the Bears are in desperate need for a left tackle.
And then we're not going to even. That's a whole nother show. We're not going to even go into, drafting his replacement and what Poles has done in the draft, and we talking about second round players and third round picks. That's healthy scratches.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, they had a guy from the Canadian League, and a free agent that was up dressed, and you had your second round pick in Ozzy Trapillo and your third round pick from the year before in Amagazi. They was healthy scratches, so they can't even beat out a free agent and a former Canadian player. That says a lot. But that's for a whole nother show.
Yeah, that says a lot. So, man, what we looking for is to have a victory Sunday when it come, man, because, man, you know what? We'll probably all be like popping champagne because you know what? And I'm sorry, Jay, I just want to say this before we close out. I remember last year saying, man, when victories come, you got to take it. When the
You gotta
Bears were
take 'em.
4-2 last year and we were celebrating on this, and some people was like, man, y'all tripping. Those were some bad teams. I bet y'all wish y'all could be celebrating right now.
Right. I wish we had Jacksonville on the schedule again this year, and Carolina and all them, but we don't have it. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So we want to try to take victories when we can. I think it might be a little rain on Sunday. They may be talking. I don't know if the weather is going to change, but you saw. And like I said again, the Cowboys historically, the Cowboys has not played well at Soldier Field. So that's, as a Bears fan, you look for little stuff like that to hang your hat on. Like they don't play well at Soldier Field. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Hey, Luke Sky's working on some theme music for us, Jay. He's going
Okay.
to take that beat, and he kind of ran some little sample lines on me, man. I think it's gonna be pretty dope, man.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, now we're gonna have a dope show. We're gonna have a dope theme music, man. We're gonna be just like that, like the theme musics on TV where you still remember the song.
You still remember the song? Maybe it could become a little popular like SUV. Don. When you hear the don, you already know you ain't even got to say what the name of the show is. You just hear the music.
You just hear the music.
So, yeah, that'd be right. That'd be cool.
Right. So, hey, thank everybody for tuning in tonight to Bears Banter Talk Show. This is season number 6. Hey, let your friends know. Make sure you subscribe to Bears Banter Talk Show. And let's just keep growing this platform. Until next time, peace.